So what we're going to do is I'm going to browse loops. So I can click on here, or I can go up to this little music icon. So sometimes in Soundtrap, there's more than one way of doing the same thing. So I could click browse loops here, or click it here, or click it here. And if I want to choose a bass, I can click a bass. If I want a piano, and so on, different styles, sound effects, all sorts. But let's just jump straight in and make some music. So here's bass. And I'm going to choose my favorites. And I favorited these with hearting them. I can just click to audition them. Okay, you might wonder why I've chosen them as favorites, but that's another matter. Here's one. And the one I'm going to choose to use is bass retro funk, and it sounds like this. And to pull it into the record window, I just double click. Then I'm going to add some drums. If for some reason I decide I don't like that, I can go to these little dots and delete the track. Now you'll see the actions to do certain things are very intuitive and straightforward. If I've preferred this drum beat, I shall put it in and then change it for that. So you can put it in real time, or you can stop everything and then move it about. Or if you want to expand this so we can see things better, the little plus and minus down here, I go plus, it stretches it out, and minus makes it small. So I'll leave it like that. No, I'll make it here, and then we can see the whole thing. So we've got 8 bars. See this little cycle mode? If I click that off, when we get to here, it would keep going. And that's not much fun because we can't hear anything. So I can click here, or I can click on the cycle mode. And once we're back in here, it will just loop and cycle around what we've got. I'm then going to add a piano sound. Okay. So we're gradually building the piece up. Now we don't just want to have loops. So what I'm going to do is add a real instrument. Now in front of me, oh, do you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm going to apologize to everybody, because the one thing I said I would do and I haven't done is to say to you all, which I should have said, is I'm a white male in my early 60s. I have dark hair. I'm wearing a blue t-shirt. I'm in a room in my house in Scotland with a piano behind me and a music keyboard beside me, and indeed in front of me, little music keyboard here. I'm so sorry. So you see, I'm old and I forget these things so easily. Right, add new track down here. Just click on add new track. And I've got options of microphones, guitars, drums, brass, strings, all these different options. I'm going to choose piano and keyboard. And up pops a piano, and I can, with my mouse, or with my QWERTY keyboard. Now you might think this is a bit complicated, having QWERTY written on music notes, but QWERTY. I can actually play a tune on this if you don't have a keyboard. Or if you do have a keyboard, much easier to do that. Now, if I want to record along with what we've got, first of all, I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit. So there's the volume control. I'm just using my mouse to move that up and down. And click off here, and we can see what we've got. So to record, you'll see the controls at the bottom, which are all very familiar. Record, stop, back to the beginning, play, and fast forward. If we want a metronome click on, we click the metronome on, and we've got choices of clicks, ticks, hi-hat, or clave. We'll just have a click. No, let's have a clave. It's got a nice clicky sound, a clave. Right, here we go. And so I've just recorded in some music, and we can go back, take the metronome off, because we don't want the metronome clicking away. And if we want to tighten up the rhythm of the thing, what we do is quantize to the nearest, in this instance, could be the nearest quaver. And that should have tightened it up. Indeed it has. And if I want to change the sound of that to a different instrument, like any of these other pianos, there's one called Whirly Chorus, which is a Wurlitzer piano. To give it some reverb to make it sound a wee bit more realistic and useful, just here. And now that new instrument will now play the tune. And that's really how you would record a real instrument. Now, if I wanted to record a voice or like a clarinet or a violin, I would use a microphone of some sort. Now, you can use a USB microphone, as good a quality as you care to spend on, or you can just use your computer microphone. Now, very often young people would be wearing headphones, but I don't feel the need in this scenario to do that, and it's more comfortable not wearing them. So I'll show you how I would record some audio. First of all, I'm going to mute these tracks. And then I'm going to go to File. And sorry, I'm going to go Add New Track and Voice and Microphones. I'm going to set it to a dry voice sound. And then I'm going to click on this little thing here, which gets a balance of the sound of my voice. So the volume check, it says sing, speak, or play your instrument. So it's checking the volume and it's now happy. So I click done. And then I just have to start recording. And I think it's going to ask me one or two other things when I do that. So let me see. Yes, it's going to ask me, am I using headphones? And I'm not. Monitoring's been switched off to protect my ears. That's very nice of them. And it's now telling me to get ready. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. And I press stop. And then we'll see what's been recorded. And there's the audio that I've just recorded. Fire it back to the beginning with this little button. Actually, that's the wrong button. That's the fast forward button. I should have pressed the other one. Here it comes. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. Right, I'm going to click the loops thing off just to clear the screen so we can see more of what we're doing. And I'm going to go to Settings and Podcast Tools and show you something quite fun and interesting. I can select the track. Now you see there's the bass that we've done, the drums we've done, the piano that we've done, and the microphone that I've just recorded into. I'm going to transcribe that text. And we shall see. So I can check your transcription progress here. And it says it's going to take a minute. In actual fact, it'll take another 5 seconds. Yeah. And you'll see that it says, it's great to take part in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. Now, that's not the correct spelling for resound, although maybe you might think, oh, maybe that's a more groovy name for Connect Resound. But I'm going to go E for edit on my computer keypad and change that to an S. And I've edited it. So it hasn't picked it up perfectly, it's done it pretty well. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. There we are. So I'll click that back down. And then we can move this audio freely anywhere we like. And what I want to do is show you here. See these funny squiggly things? This is called automation, and it allows you to adjust panning left and right, a sweeping kind of sensation sound, or very importantly, volume levels. So you'll notice the audio here starts around here. So I'm going to put a little dot here and pull that down so that when I start talking, and similarly here, when I start talking, the bass is a lot quieter. I'm going to do the same for the drums. Automation, volume, click on around here, pull that level down. Just when it stops the chat, pull that back up, click on automation, and we shall put these back on. I'm going to leave the piano, I'll put the piano in. I'm going to leave this off for a second, and let's see what we've got. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. And you see that the level comes nicely back up. So what I'm actually going to do here in editing is a different thing. I'll just come back out of it a second. You'll see the audio starts just before bar 4 and finishes at the beginning of bar 6. So if I go into the edit in here, at bar 4 here, I'm going to take these notes out. Just get rid of them. I'll leave a few in, so there's a wee bit of something. And so that's cleared that so that the voice can be, now you could have done the same in automation here, but I've done it in a different way. Here we go. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. You know what? The mistake I made, of course, was the intentional mistake. I never put this track back on so we could hear it. Now, I said those different ways of doing things. I can put this back to the beginning just by dragging it. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. Now, so that's an example of, now imagine my voice had been an acoustic guitar or any acoustic instrument. As long as you have peace and quiet, you can record quite successfully. If I wanted to put effects on the microphone, I just go to Add Effects. I'll just go back because I'm doing things quickly, and I know it's, if I do it quickly, you'll think, oh, what did you do there? So I'll do it in slow motion. Go to this little microphone thing here, click on it, and then go to Add Effects. And then when I click Add Effect, you'll see there's a whole bundle of all sorts of effects you could do. For voice, quite often you might use a compressor, or for guitar, you might use overdrive. For keyboards, you might use flanger and chorus. I'm not going to put an effect on the voice just at this moment in time. I'm going to show you another effect. If I come back to my dry voice, and if I go to, there's all sorts of crazy things. If I go to telephone, if you were going to pretend you were talking to someone on the telephone in an interview. It's great to take part today in the Connect Resound Learning Festival. So you can see that there's quite a lot of fun could be involved in all that, making music and making some audio as well. So finally, in this little section, if we want to save this, as and export it as something we can send to a friend or to mum or to granny in Canada, we can export the project to an MP3 file. And so we need to save it. So I'll go OK. And that means I need to save the project, call it something, call it save as or save, and then export it as an MP3 file or a higher quality WAV file or WAV file. And if we've got MIDI data, we'll have a look at this just shortly. You can export tracks to Noflight. Right, so let's come out of this. Go to Profile. Don't save. It's all gone. Now, sometimes when we're looking at online recording studios, we think to ourselves, it's kind of dance music or it's poppy or whatever, but it can be any sort of style. So years ago, I composed a wee piece, a classical aleatoric kind of 12-note piece, which we called Displacement. I actually had the thing performed by real people. If you ever want to see the score of it, if you go to Scottish Music Centre, Google Scottish Music Centre and my name, you find the score there. But I've just translated it into MIDI data, and I'm going to mute these things here, and we'll just have a look. So essentially what I've got is 12 notes equality in a modern piece. I'm going to move it on to a faster section and show you the MIDI in here. And so on. And I've used a violin, a plucking sound here, a plucking violin and a smooth violin to amplify, just to double the sound and give it a bit more. And then it goes, just take it right to the end. Now, not everybody's cup of tea, of course. It's not something you'd listen to of a Friday night. But then that's 20th century music for you. So what I've added here, which is something that young people might be interested in doing for fun, is creating some atmosphere. So I've just used some sound effects, which are available in the loops and sound effects. And we've got this. Metallic sound. So you get the idea. You could transform something that's, oh boy, I can't listen to that. But then if we add some sound effects, maybe it gives it a bit more color and a bit more interest. And you can do all that in a Soundtrap project. So I'm going to come out of here and don't save again. Oh, apologies. I'm going to have to jump back in. What I wanted to show you there was search displacement. Just jump back in a second, because what I wanted to show you was if you want that music notated in Noflight, what you can do is go to File and Export, not to an MP3 file or a WAV file or MIDI tracks. We can jump straight to Noflight if you have the program. Export complete, did it as quick as that, and it takes you straight into Noflight. And there's the pane all to see. It takes a minute to load, of the 12-note equality and a 12-note row thing. So I just wanted to let you catch that. So go to Profile and we'll jump out again. Right, this time when I enter the studio, I'll show you something completely different, vocal music. In Soundtrap, there's lots of demos. And if the young people want to try playing about with tracks, they can just click on these and jump straight in and manipulate and move things about or add things. But I'm going to go to this one-man choir, which is not a demo. And you'll see we've got 4 audio tracks. We've got vocals, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Now, just to show how the studio works, I've already shown you automation where we can adjust these things. I've shown you how to mute. I've shown you how to just listen to the track on its own. Here's the volume control. Here's where you record, and here's where you would add effects if you wanted to add effects. Right. So that's really the studio in a nutshell. We'll play this in a second. So again, down the bottom, record, stop, rewind, play, etc. Haven't spoken about these things. We'll talk about these just in a second. Right, 4 audio files here, vocals 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to mute track 1, track 3, track 4. I'm going to take the reverb off the voice. So the reverb with my mouse, just moving up and down, taking the reverb off. So this track is kind of naked, and it's very naked. Just listen to this.
Veni, veni, Emmanuel, captivum solve.
Now, Per, who's a Swede and the boss of Soundtrap, sang all this stuff in. I'm going to make him sound better. So play.
Israel, qui gemit in exilium, privatus Dei filio, gaude, gaude, Emmanuel, nacetur pote
So if I was a young student, a boy, and I was a tenor, and this was, we're going to call this the tenor part. See, for editing, you just click on it, you go to your keypad, and you can put in tenor. Right. If I was wanting to learn this part, yes, I would need to have the sheet music, and I can listen to this while doing it, but I could also then sing my own part in by adding my own track. And I'll just call it me. It could be Bob or whoever it was. You could put it beside the tenor track, and you could then record your own singing along with it, muting these and singing along with this. And then once you've sung in your part, you can then ditch the tenor part and just get rid of it. And it's now, I am now singing with this wonderful one-man choir. It's now a two-man choir. If you want to change the key, you can change the key. If you want to change the tempo, you can change the tempo. And it takes a few minutes to make those adjustments. So what I'm going to do is remind you of how this sounded tempo-wise. And then go back. I'll let you see in Blue Peter style. Don't save. Go back to. I'll just search for one-man choir. One-man choir, 150 beats per minute. Here's the same thing that I've speeded up.
Veni, veni, Emmanuel, captivum solve Israel, qui
so on. So, Emily, you need to keep me right. I don't want to be a one-man monologue with this, and I'm trying to show a variety of things. So I don't know how much more you would like me to show, but I can show another 2 or 3 things if you're happy.
That's fine, Alan. We've got a couple of questions. We could ask them now if you want to break it up and then go back in.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So, Christine says it's a beautiful looking interface, which it is, and sounding. Could you please explain the differences between the Premium, Supreme and Pro packages? I'll just give you the other question at the same time because it's similar. How long does the free trial last, and how much would the basic package cost, please? And that's from Mambo Jambo. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for that, Christine. Now, the good news is this. The Soundtrap is a product for schools called Soundtrap for Education. I'm not actually right in that product just now. I'm in my own account, but I'm going to jump to an education account in a minute and let you see it. So there's different paid accounts for private individuals. So they range from £10 a month to £17 or £18 a month for individuals. But for schools, it works out. The school packages give you the best of the best expensive package for all the kids. So you get all the different bells and whistles with the school package. The school package ultimately works out at just under £4 per student for a year's license. So I know for some school budgets that's a lot, but the way some schools do that is they have it as a cross-curricular right across the school audio recording tool, and podcasting and storytelling can be done in English and drama and in languages. Soundtrap's also in French. You can click a button and you go into French or German or Spanish or Portuguese. So it's very, very flexible. The cost, they sell it in 50 bundles of 50. So it's a 50 user license is £199. And the seats are interchangeable. So for example, if you were working with 50 kids over a block of 2 months and you wanted to just have that, do that work with them for say 8 weeks, you could then politely kick them out and invite another 50 from your school without having to change the license. You've still got the license for 50 users. So that's the costs and how that works. Any other comment or question at the moment?
Just to say, Alan, not all of our delegates will be based in schools, so we've probably got quite a lot of freelance.
Right. Oh, so just to come back on that question from Christine, there's a completely free version as well. You can have a completely free version, which allows you to do up to 5 projects and keep them. So if you get to project 5 and you want to keep 4, you would have to ditch one of the projects. You can always be using it, but it'll only, as far as I'm aware, let you use up to 5 projects. And the number of sounds, instead of 4,000 loops, I think you get like 1,000 loops in the free version. So it's very usable, but it's really just a teaser to try and say, look, you like this so much, do you not want to pay £9 a month to have a full proper? And if you're an individual, not as a school teacher, you can then automatically fire your work to Spotify into the cloud, which is, because it's a Spotify product, there's an option to fire it to Spotify, which is quite exciting as well. So any other, will I move on, or want a question again, Emily?
No more questions at the moment, but please do keep popping them in the chat, everyone, if you have anything else you'd like to ask Alan. But yeah,
just to keep me right, Emily, what time do you want me to stop talking?
You've got until, if we could stop just before 1, that would be perfect. So
right. No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so am I still sharing my screen?
You are.
Right, thank you. So the next thing I think is, what I should maybe also have done is, we've only got a small group of people. I should maybe have asked what background you've got so I can tailor more what I'm talking about to your interests. Are you all classroom music teachers or instrumental teachers?
If you want to pop in the chat, what's your...
I'm not in the chat. If you want to tell me what the responses are, Emily.
Okay, brilliant. So we've got Ella saying yes. So I think we've got one person who is in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else wants to share? I think we've got a mixture of people, people performing informal and informal sector. So people going in and taking workshops into schools, doing some private practice,
Great.
music tech workshops for neurodiverse young people. So quite a lot of people who are sort of freelancers working in that community and educational space, but not necessarily attached to an institution, I think is fair to say. Community musicians.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's look at something that's really something else that I think is really quite fun. I find it fun. I naturally enjoy doing this. I just find it fun. So I've opened this little project that I've called Acoustic Guitar Strum. I'm just going to play. Now, somebody's strumming on the chord of E minor. It's all very well, but it ain't going to get us very far unless we just want to have the song on the chord of E minor for the whole thing. The way I got that strum was I went to loops at the top and I picked guitar. And I know that this particular loop set is got a guitar 2 code in it because there's so many different ones. So I can scroll down here and there's some really cool ones, it's really quite fun. Really quite nice. So on. But the one I'm looking for is this one. So once I found it, as I said earlier, I double click and it pulls it across here. So we've now got 2. So I'm going to go to the 3 dots and delete that track. If I wanted to change the color, by the way, if we prefer this color or this color, purple, or all your guitars are going to be green, change the color. So these little three dots, again, I'm showing you Studio as we go rather than just, so I could duplicate click it and it'll pop up as the same thing, one track below, or delete it, that's pretty obvious, or I can click and freeze it. And that, if you've got maybe 20 tracks built up, if you freeze your tracks, it takes the weight off the computer's CPU processing power and it allows the thing to run smoothly. So that just helps to do that. If you want to import a file or export it, it's pretty obvious the color. So there's really not much to it. Anyway, I'm going to move this to the top. Just grab it. Whoops, sorry. Grab it. Here. Yeah, there we go. What have I done? Trying to move this to the top. There it goes. It's just an easier way of working. So, because I'm aligned here. By the way, this playhead, this is called the playhead. You can set it with this little magnet so that it just jumps to the increments that you've set. Or you can have it without the magnet, freely traveling anywhere you want it. That's just another little thing. Okay, E minor. If we put the playhead to here and do a cut, now I'm going to do Command E, and I'm going to go to bar 5, select it, Command E. I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to get rid of this loops thing so we can see what we're doing. This is the chord of E minor. This I'm now going to change to the chord of A minor. I'm then going to move to bar 6. I want the little magnet to make sure I get it bang on. Click on here, cut, Command E, and then here I'm going to go to transpose, and I'm going to pick the chord of G. So we've now got E minor, A minor, G, and back to here. So let's see what that sounds like. So for any of you who are not good guitarists, and I'm not a good guitarist, but you want to sound like one, you now can, and make up your song. So I can get rid of it by selecting them like that, or I could have got rid of it by deleting the track. Here's one that I've made earlier with different chords. And if I stretch it out here, we can see clearly that we've got here, there's an E minor 7 I've put in, and an A minor 7, and we can't see that because it's not big enough to see. Let's see. A minor 7, acoustic strum. I'm not actually seeing that because it's not big enough, but take it from me, I've changed the chords to more interesting chords. I'm also going to play a bass line, which I've recorded in, bass line. And drums. So these are all 7th chords, and this just to vary it and make it more interesting. So you can have your guitar chord structure for a whole song done like that. Add a bass line, play in a bass line like we've done. Add your drum track. Organ, let's add the organ and see what we can do with it. Should have put the loop on. Back. Right. Forward. Forward there. So we've now got that in. So I'm now going to mute the organ and put an electric guitar in. All these effects in. Now I'm going to make the loop stretch for the whole piece. I just drag it and pull it along. And then we don't want the organ and the guitar clashing with each other. So I'm going to edit the organ, the guitar, and take that out. Taking it out. And I'm going to give the guitar its moment here. So we're going to take in the keyboard, get rid of that. It's a bit brutal. It could be finessed a lot more, of course. But let's see the effect of that. Profile, that's not saved. But that's an easy way, I would say relatively easy way, of building up tracks with a chord structure. You take the guitar strum and you can chop it up and shape it out into an ABA structure or a verse chorus structure. Right, we're going to look at a song that's just to show that Soundtrap is a really quite a professional tool. So I'm going to go to a song that's been recorded together as one. There's all sorts of together as one demos. The one I'm looking for is this one. Now, I made up a little COVID song last year, and I got a vocalist in Nashville to send me vocal stems. I told him what the tune was, gave him the backing track. He did the vocal stems, and I pulled in the vocal stems, and I've mixed it all in Soundtrap and recorded it in Soundtrap. But he did the vocal parts. So here's my piano and bass and drums. Also, Soundscript, you can see the words.
In our 2020 vision, let us come to a decision together as one. Together as one.
Okay, now there's backing vocals. Now you can see the backing vocals only come in at this point here. If we've managed to pan them left and right, which we just click here, that's you can see that backing vocal's been panned to the left. If we wanted it center, we'd have it there. If we wanted it to the right, we'd have it there. Or really wide to the left, right round to there. So you can pan the backing vocals and add effects to them. Now you'll notice there's 3 of them that come in here. What I'm going to do with these backing vocals, it's a lot of stuff on the page. What we could also do is go to settings, go to edit. No, let's go to file. What is it I'm looking for? I've lost it. I'm looking to merge tracks, and for some reason I can't do it. Edit, merge regions, merge tracks. I don't know. I'm doing something. I'm doing something silly. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, so you can pull in stems. You can have audio stems brought into the whole setting. There it is there. I'm so sorry. Settings, merge tracks. Click on merge tracks. And then there's all the tracks of the song. So I go backing vocals 1, 2, and 3 and click merge. And it will pull them all onto one track. And once you've balanced them up and you've got it the way you like it, balanced left and right, it will then just appear as one track. Similarly with the drums are called clean red. That's hi-hats and toms, and I think a bass drum or something. If I want to go into my settings and merge tracks again, the clean red is just the name for a drum kit. And I just merged these MIDI tracks. So I've merged audio tracks together into one track, and I'm now merging MIDI tracks. And it's just as easy as what I've shown you. You go to settings and then you go to merge tracks. And then it'll create exactly the same thing. And we can keep playing.
Our love can overflow. Come on, sister. Come on, bro.
Together as one. And then we've got the little guitar solo coming in here. Play. For me to insert that, if I was to show you how you would insert a guitar solo, you would just put the playhead to where you want it to be. Just take the magnet off and move it slightly to here. You'd add new track. You would go to guitars and bass. You go to this mountain lead, all sorts of different guitar possibilities, but we'll just stick with the one that we've got. And I need to unmute it. Sorry, I've just muted it. It's that one. And if I want to record, it's recording there. I'm going to delete this track so that it's no longer there, and I'm going to have to record in something. So I just press record. And you just record from where the playhead is.
Together as one.
That's how you would record in a track, and it's now there. So that's that. And then just to show the quality of the studio, and it finishes with a cappella voices.
Let us go.
Except they're not on.
Let us know.
There they are now.
How to love our world and soul. Come on, sister. Come on, bro. Together as one.
Right, now the last thing I'm going to show you is in an education account with children who've made a podcast. So I'm going to come out of this account and log out, because it's very much a login and a log out process with Soundtrap. Everything's in the browser. So I'm going to go to this account here and log in. And this takes me in. I'm Mr. Cameron with the kids. I'm no longer Alan, I'm now Mr. Cameron. And these are all projects that the kids have done. Lots of different storytellings with music and sound effects. So what we're going to, hundreds of them, just so creative and fun. I'm looking for Mysterious Moon Mystery by Olivia. So I'm going to jump into Studio and see what she's got. Also going to show you that you can go back to various versions. If you've got kids working collaboratively and somebody does something that annoys someone, or oh, what did you do that for? Or, you know, and it's messed it up, you can go back to as many previous versions. There's 24 versions of this particular thing. So I'm going to go to version 20. And then you'll see within the collaboration tool, the teacher can talk to Olivia. Hello, Olivia. What you've got sounds amazing. I've added a couple of extra sounds and managed to repeat, blah, 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 chat, chat, chat. And I put that in, great podcast story. And that was last year, March 24th, just after lockdown had started for us. Kids were in lockdown actually at that point. They'd been in the previous week, but we continued with them when they went home. I'm going to click that off so we can see the whole thing. And we can also see the text of this is a little glockenspiel part the kid has used. And I'll show you the text.
As she waded through the cool, blue, crystal-like water, she felt someone or something tap her on her shoulder. Right,
so someone or something tap her on the shoulder. But I'm going to show you how we can edit this as well. I'm going to do someone or, whoops. Right, let's see what we get.
Waited for the cool, blue, crystal-like water. She felt something tap her on her shoulder.
She's taking someone or something out. Let it go forward.
She turned around. Nobody was there.
Sound effect splash.
Suddenly, she was lifted straight off her feet and into the water. 1 minute, she was completely balanced. The next, she was flailing about in the water, struggling to get her breath.
Coming out of breath.
She quickly grabbed onto the nearest rock.
She quickly grabbed onto the nearest rock, but I know this has been picked up as she quickly grabbed onto the nearest stroke, and of course it's not stroke, so I'm going to go to E for edit and just change it to rock. And then we can see her say that.
She quickly grabbed onto the nearest rock and heaved herself up and stared at the disturbed water.
Alan, I'm just letting you know we've got a couple of questions and we've got 7
Okay.
minutes just for
Right,
you.
well, I'll tell you what. I'll come out of this. The last thing briefly to show is if you want all the sounds, you know, there's 101 sound effects. I mean, thousands of them. Just so many, it's ridiculous. So I shall stop sharing my screen. Come out. There we go.
Thank you, and sorry to interrupt. I did want to hear the rest
Uh-huh.
of the story.
Yeah.
We've just got a couple of questions to fit in before we say goodbye to everyone. The first is, I'll tell you them both at once and let you manage them. The first is, could you talk us through the process of collaborating in a bit more detail? So how do multiple collaborators work in Soundtrap? The second is, what defines a project when the free version allows you 5 projects? Does a project effectively mean what we've just been seeing, like one story, one piece? And apologies to Christine because I stopped her hearing the breaking pineapple effect. Hopefully that's part of the 1,000 free sounds, Christine, that you can listen to yourself. So I'll have those questions to you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll take your last question first. What defines a project? A project is essentially any of the examples I showed you today would be a project. It's a recording. You call it a recording, call it a project. In Soundtrap, they're called assignments. Now, because we haven't gone into, I could have no doubt gone on for another half an hour and shown you a whole bundle of stuff about how you might create an assignment within the education package. Essentially, the teacher could set up a little template of a couple of tracks and then send that as an assignment to groups of the kids or all of the kids or just one child. And then essentially the children can then add to it, or they can start from scratch with a blank template. So a project is an assignment created by the teacher, or a project or an assignment that the kid is doing from scratch with their own. But obviously the learning and teaching side of this to make it work is critically important. Soundtrap's just the tool. There's quite a lot of learning and teaching and planning that would go into making sure they didn't just have a free-for-all. And, you know, it's good to let them have free-for-all at the beginning just to check out the sounds and the samples and the bits and pieces. But they then need some structure in their learning in terms of, you might say, right, we're just going to do 3 tracks and we just want 8 bars of music. You can choose the tempo, you can, etc. So just as you would do in any project, you just need a clear structure. Your first question, remind me, what were the first thing you asked there?
Just talking through how the collaboration works. So if you have got multiple people working on one project, how does that?
Well, again, if you think of kids working in groups in a primary school or indeed a secondary school, they normally, real life would be replicated in digital life. In other words, you might work on a song with another person and just 2 of you together, or you might work 3 or 4 or 5. But see, when it gets to above 6, it becomes a wee bit unwieldy, just as it would in real life, being collaborative in a piece of work. I mean, the Beatles, there were 4 of them, but really most of the time it was 2 of them that wrote the songs and the other 2 did a wee bit now and again. It's the same sort of template and principle. When you're in the collaboration zone, you could have a group of people all working on the same piece and they can all chip in ideas in the chat. There's also video chat, which you can have switched on or switched off. You've got control as to whether you have them in video chat or just text chat. If you were to Google Soundtrap collaboration, you would immediately very quickly find a 3-minute summary and demonstration of. So if anyone's really interested in the collaboration side of it, because I've not got somebody to collaborate with today, I have done it in the past. Best thing to do is Google Soundtrap collaboration and you'll see a little video which will show you.
Thank you.